Good evening, Speed Gaming fans. Welcome to another installment of Final Fantasy Randomizer. Tonight, we've got Hypes Nova 1 versus Alliesong in their first match of the Spring Tourney 2020, featuring the Waterweed flags. So, gonna get going quickly here since we're having a little bit of cropping thing going on, but runners should be going in just a second on our screen.
How's it going, Ale?
Good, Caleb. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited. Got one of the last races of the day today going. This has been a long day of FFR. Hope folks are out there enjoying what they're seeing. All kinds of craziness happening. We got vets racing, we got ducks racing, we got everybody everywhere. And right now we have Hypes Nova and Alliesong, one of the newer ducks to jump in the pond on the FFR Discord, battling it out, hoping to go 1-0. Hypes rocking the double fighter. I love it.
That's a comp I don't think I've seen yet for the spring tourney for the first week. Granted, I didn't get to watch all of the 11, 12 races today, but
and we're off and running. So Hypes has built this party and is attempting to capitalize on some advice that was given to him by one of the veterans in the community, Tarnin. He and Tarnin were talking about party comps. Hypes was sharing his frustrations with the way these flags have been treating him, and Tarnin suggested running double fighter for that extra survivability in Topher. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out for Hypes.
Yeah, I like the versatility of it looking at it from the start. So if you find good fighter / night gear early, that can give you a huge boost of just either survivability or damage output, depending on what you find. If you don't find good fighter or night gear, with his comp of having fighter, red mage, and
welcome to the party.
Right out of the gate.
Welcome to the party, Hypes. Sorry to see the early stone poison from the Imps. That's good though. That's a good thing that we find it now, and not later on like Agamas or Badmen, as we're going into the Temple of Fiends Revisited later in the game.
True that. Allie doesn't see it though. She gets that lit 3 out early, so we'll see if they surprise her a little bit later on.
Yeah, and she beelines, and surprisingly, she busts through that door and didn't see these two skeletons standing right in front of Garland.
Hopefully she's gonna go back and check chests. Hype has found a ribbon down in that bottom left chest on TOF ones.
Hypes Nova finding that ribbon early. It's awesome, because how many races have we seen so far where folks are just digging through boxes in the late game, and there's a canal. So is this free seed free? We'll find out.
It's free once you get away from those imps, I think.
King given the ruby, so immediately we'll have the ability to break out. Oh my, and a free key. Let's go open all these boxes. I hope Allie heads back to the Temple of Fiends and grabs that canal and that ribbon. I'm sure she'll do it. She's going to come back in here and pick up some magic that she didn't buy the first time through. So Allie running the very strong party of the Fighter Rainbow. And if there's somebody that can talk to party comps and their availability and like what they're able to do for our runners, it's probably our special guest commentator.
I couldn't imagine who that would be.
Falconic, welcome to the broadcast, buddy.
Hey guys, what's up?
Not much, man. So what do you think of these two party comps, Falconic?
I mean, I'll be honest, with the spring tournament flags, I think that a 4-person party is kind of a waste of XP. I'm starting to really join into the Artea way of thinking, where 2-person, maybe 3 tops is the way to go.
I've seen too many Tophers that just explode in people's faces to think that 2 is viable. But 3 I can see working. I know Thunder, one of our newer runners who's joined since the last spring tournament, has been running strong, has been practicing with 2-man party builds and has had some success with it, but it's still it's still like can be a struggle.
Yeah, 2-man parties, it requires a lot of practice, but more importantly, above anything else, 2-man parties you have to commit to as early as possible. You cannot switch to a 2-man party 20 minutes into a seed. It has to be done within the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, and early item magic is going to help with that too. So if we get like an early Thor hammer or something like that, but none of these and there we go. Level 2 white magic, loaded to bear. We got life, we got invis 2, and we got fade.
Hallie's going to be happy to see that when she makes her way over there, because she'll have 2 casters that can handle that fade spell.
And level 3 or level 2 black just as loaded with ice 3, fire 3, and lock 2. So,
and these, aside from not seeing nuke early, these spells are very gracious to our runners. So we have level 1 lit 3. We've got the other 2 elemental 3s at level 2. We got fade at level 2. We had wall at level 1. They're going to be packing a lot of heat. So I feel like at least Allie, I think she's probably going to keep it 3, at least not 4 people up throughout the whole seed. And there's that loose, or not loose tail, but vendor tail.
Yeah, so that's good to find early. So if our runners prioritize checking the bear in mind, I just realized no one's tracking this because we're tracking it. Hypes, I'm surprised Hypes didn't do more of the key lock checks, but he's got the money to get that tail. So did he do key lock coming out of Canaria? I missed that.
He did do key locked in Canaria, so he found a flame shield in there and he found an ice sword, and I think those were the 2 biggest takeaways from the 6 boxes.
So that's something when Allie watches this back. The early key, you're going to want to prioritize opening those 6 boxes in Canaria. TOF, like you might want to run back up there, check that spike tile. If it's something good there, especially with the wonderful early magic that we have, you might be able to steal some free levels there. And like Falconic was saying, if you're going to commit to a two-person party, that would be the time to do it. You know, if you have an early grind tile and access to early sweeper magic, why not? Let's give it a go. But also being able to route in the key checks in the Dwarf Cave when we go there. We got the key checks in Northwest Castle when we got the crown now. And then we can route in the Elfland Armory. But more importantly, Hype has getting the early advantage by getting that canal out of TOF. So let's see where Allie goes here.
Speaking of key lock chests, I'm a little surprised that Senor Nova hasn't stepped into the Elfland Castle there to check just the 4 along the outside of wall.
Yeah, Hyper's Nova is probably... So, Hypes has been... He's been around the community for a while now. I want to say since before or right around the time that I joined about a year ago, and has been really involved like on the creative end, like doing a lot of like fun sprite stuff, things like that, and hasn't been really involved a lot in the racing atmosphere, but coming along, joining the spring tournament, so there might be some nerves at play for him with just kind of like, I gotta go fast. Oh, I can't believe I forgot. Like when he watches his back, like, I can't believe I forgot to check these key locks, but makes quick work of Astos and gets the crystal. So again, skipping the Northwest key lock checks and...
Oh, nope. He's going back in for these ones. Yep. And I'd like checking these ones early because you've got 2 different trap tiles in here. So if you find like that fabled 3-eye grind tile in here early, that can really springboard your level.
Light Axe is good. That's a good thing to equip early. And we got Chimeras. We do have Ice 3 and Fade. This should wipe out this pack of them. Ooh, and they're very
weak.
Oh yeah, definitely weak.
This is where we want to live. As long as they don't have anything super nasty. Look at that. We're already level 8 at 8 minutes in. When your levels match your timer, you know you're running fast.
Absolutely. And Allie dipping back in the Temple of Fiends, finding herself that ribbon, finding herself that...
Look at that. Hippie finds an eye tile.
Speaking of that fabled eye tile.
Hippie's Nova gonna do the thing, and I wonder, and they're falling over all over the place. So I already level 10. His levels now exceed the timer. So Hypes might be here for a minute.
That's a good question, Caleb. Do you take this grind right now, or do you wait till you have a little bit more key item?
Well, the key item progression at the 5% per, we already have 8 of them, or 7 of them, with the bridge, canal, ship, He's got the crystal now, the crown, the key, and the ruby. Like, he's already got a good amount, so he's getting decent levels. I might take it to level 15 to level 20, somewhere in there, just to make this early game super easy. You're going to build that MDEF, you're going to build those HP pools for the fighter. And looks like he's level 12 is good enough for him. He doesn't have a house, so he has it in his back pocket that I got levels to survive any of the early dungeons. Like, at this level, I'd feel comfortable going really anywhere, you know, and just doing some exploration. Like, even with the spells that we have, I'd even go to like Mirage if we had the chime right now. So
Yeah, that's definitely a solid plan there. Because not only that, you get the eyes and the chimeras themselves are both really nice for gold as well at this stage of the game, and really that's one of the prohibitive factors. You know, when you're 10 minutes in looking at these, you know, level 4 spells that can cost several thousand per. So Hypes will have no problem buying level 4 spells for his red mage or his black mage, provided there's something there that he actually wants.
yeah, and Allie will be in the same position. So she's right behind Hypes. She's going to come over here. She's going to buy her spells, and then she'll head over and do that crown. And we'll see if she makes the play. And there's the level 4 warp. So
yeah, so warp is nice, and we also saw life 2 in that third slot, so his red mage can pick that up as well.
yeah, and the red mage will also be able to get life 2. So red mage's magic really, really nice right now. Wow,
To be
this
honest
is.
with you, if I'm being honest, I think I'd probably take those eyes till about 20, 21.
Mhm.
And then you just don't have to worry about any levels whatsoever. You just go do whatever you want.
This is fair, yeah, because especially with what Hypes has now, the gear to survive anything, the extra magic. I would see if maybe we find some houses and yeah, just commit 5 to 10 minutes to this play, and like you said, come out at level 20, 21, and there's not much else that you need to worry about. We already got a ribbon. Surprised he's not checking the Elfland Armory here.
I'm also surprised he didn't buy more pro rings given how cheap they were.
Mm-hmm.
So
But
the
it may-
benefit of that grind is getting money on the side.
Absolutely. It may just be a thing where he's skipping those 4 chests until he finds the herb, but how many times have we seen,
Yeah.
even in this first week of the tournament, you know, a fetch item loose on the same map that, you know, the fetch quest NPC is located on.
Yeah. And he may be breaking out to go see what this ruby turns into, or he's going to go turn in this crystal, see if he can get a canoe, or maybe he just forgot that he got the crystal because he got distracted by those eyes. But Allie, making her way up to the Northwest Castle, she's going to get this information. She's going to get the crystal, so she'll probably show us what it turns into.
I think this is a chance for Allie. If Allie decides to kind of camp out and get those levels that Hippie was so close to getting, I think you're going to find that Allie's going to be able to kind of, she might fall behind a little bit now, but
Yeah.
the levels gained, the money that she can spend on spells and armor and
Mhm.
weapons, it's going to pass up pretty quickly.
Yeah, I can't fault, you know, the Candyman Mr. Pez over here. I can't fault him for this ruby turn-in, though, because that's 2 incentive turn-ins that he can knock out pretty quick. So.
We've
the
already seen though
girls-
in this in spring tournament, we're halfway through week 1, right, of the 2020 spring tournament. How many races have we seen where the 1 chest or the 2 chests that get skipped have the key item that breaks the entire seed loose?
Yeah, we've seen it. I've seen it tonight. I'm not going to spoil any of the races that have been happening, but Allie walks right face first into the 2 eyes just staring at her, and she couldn't be happier to see this fight. Lightning 3 will take them down. They have fewer than 115 HP. So let's see if she comes back and lands on that tile.
I mean, she found that tile first, so there's really no need to check any other spike tiles in the game. As Nova picks up his canoe from the old man living in the cave.
And she walks away. Okay, so this might be just a new player lack of knowledge, but that tile is one of the best tiles that you can fight. So in the vanilla game, people grind the eye to get their levels on their black belt, or the Agama. The Eye is a little more dangerous in the vanilla game because of the spells and script that it has with all the different instant kill spells, but in the rando, it doesn't have that. And it is often a squishy XP pinata that you can just beat up and just take its money away. And that's just one eye. When you throw 3 of them, oh buddy, it makes it super fast. So, but Allie watching this back, she'll pick that up and she won't ever skip that tile again. And there's our incentive loot in the Titan's Trove. So we have 2 of the more bothersome key items out of the way with the key and loot find. We still need to find the rod, the oxiel, the chime, and the cube. Floater would be nice too, I guess. But in my mind, I'm always prepared to do a floaterless seed lately because I've had a lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
So I try not to keep floater in my mind as if it's required.
Yeah, and I think having map knowledge of this game really comes into play when you are encountered with a floaterless seed, like knowing there's that dock north of Provoca, or with our open extended or our open progression flags on. You have that dock south of Onrak, you have the dock south of Mirage Tower. You have access to literally all the dungeons. It's just a matter of how fast you want to get there.
Yeah, another one that's important to remember is that river connection right by Matoya's Cave from the north. If you're coming from Mirage Tower on your way to Temple of Fiends, that's a quick little stop to just pop in there and walk across the bridge and you're back in Canaria. Super quick little boat ride.
Oh yeah.
So Allie loaded up on magic. She's going to head up to Matoya now and turn in that crystal, something that Hypes didn't do. So if this turns into floater, it's going to be kind of questionable for Hypes when he's going to come back and do this, because
I think that's where he's going right now. So
okay, so heads up play for Hypes. Hypers Nova.
Yeah, he was just running the odds there. He'd rather do that incentive turn in for 2 than, trek up here for just the 1. So we'll see if this pays out for him.
Let's see what Grandma got. The Adamant. So, as if the seed is telling them to go back to Dwarves and open those boxes, there's some nice professional outerwear in Matoya's Cave.
Allie coming into that stone poison on those imps and just not having a good time of it.
Yeah, so she's getting the information that Hypes got early on, but luckily that ribbon's going to protect Allie here. Now, Falconic, I want to get your input here. So, do you take advantage of this solo fighter situation and go back to that grind tile? Maybe soften one of those light warriors?
If I had a better weapon, you better believe it.
Yeah.
But as it is now, no, I don't think I do. I think I would have made the stand a lot earlier, and you would have raised your MDEF enough to maybe avoid some of this status that you're getting from some of these fights. But I wouldn't take advantage of this just yet.
Yeah, she's got a light axe on her fighter just because she hasn't done the Canaria Castle chest yet. So when she does that, she'll get an ice sword. So that might make that strat or that play a little bit more viable.
Mm-hmm. So Hype's going to use the river connection instead of docking up at the dwarf dock, and he's going to beat the bridge boss here right around the 18-minute mark. Allie coming down. Doesn't have the canoe, so she'll have to do this the old-fashioned way via some boats. And Imps undoing all of Allie's soft potions. Flame armor, silver shield, wonderful finds. Let's go ahead and put those on our backup fighter. And we equipped 1 silver armor for another. So pretty decent armor here. And I don't think he.
Yep,
he
there
got
we
it.
go.
Yeah, I think at this point too, one thing to consider doing this is kind of like a safety strat. Like if you know you're still walking around this overworld, it might be worthwhile once you have your people back up from the stone status, is throw your ribbon on somebody who has some sweeper spells. That way you're not relying on your single target fighter to kind of just carry and hope you can run.
That's a good bit of advice. So what do we got in dwarf? We got 13k, some potions, a house, a large knife, a great axe. So not too much doing here.
So Caleb,
Falconic.
the game just gave you chime. You found the eye trap tile. What's your move?
I probably would be still on that eye tile. Maybe not, but now. But like so if I'm in hype situation, I would have grinded a little bit, got to, like you said, I probably wouldn't have gone as high as 20, but definitely probably like 15. I would have done the ruby check, would have done this, and I'm headed to Crescent. If Crescent doesn't have what I'm looking for, I'm going to go down to Ordeals. I'm going to go to Waterfall. I'm going to start roping those incentive locations into my checks, and hope that I find an Oxyale in one of those 3 locations, because then I want to do C. I want to do C and I want to get it out of the way. When it comes to these incentive fiend dungeons, I don't like having them weigh on me. And Allie getting a little mixed up here in the dwarf armory, or the dwarf cave. She's going to grab her chime and see if she heads down to open a locked door, and she's going to do that. So going to get rewarded with some money. She'll have more than enough to go back and pick up her tail if she wants, but I would imagine she might hold off on that until she's in the air.
And I like what you were mentioning too, Caleb, about prioritizing those incentivized locations, because right now we only really need 3 things for our runners to beat the game. They still need to find the rod, they need the Oxyale, and they need the cube.
Yeah.
That still puts on the table the power gauntlet, the opal bracelet, and the Thor's hammer. So at this point, we may never need either of the 2 loose items in this particular seed.
And I was gonna say, as long as we don't find things like the slab or the bottle, we could be a floaterless go mode very soon. But getting that slab, kind of makes me think that maybe, but that slab could just lead to Thor hammer, something like that. But yeah, now it's time to go. It's time to go south.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Hypes' play here is, because I don't believe we've seen any of the, the really strong insta-kill spells quite yet on our magic shop. So I don't think we've seen Brack. I don't think we've seen Bane. So I'm curious to see what his plan is if he does happen to go south and head towards like Waterfall and Sea Shrine. If he finds Oxyale in Waterfall, does he jump right in and maybe give Kraken a shot at this level, or does he just go in for the key item and get out?
Yeah, I definitely think you go in for the key item, and if you get a good sword like a Masa or Sun Sword or something, white shirt or defense or something that helps with the wind condition on Kraken, maybe a Bane sword, absolutely. But I can see it going either way. I mean, we have a lot of fades, we've got access to nuke, we've got lightning 3. We might be able to do enough damage if Kraken rolls low with just magic. We've seen some squishy bosses in this tournament. We've also seen some very thick bosses, but let's see what Hypes does here. And Allie just can't get away from these stone poison imps. The good news for her is that stone poison's out the pool, and once we're away from Canaria, we won't be seeing imps too much. So, into the waterfall. Unrunnable Ghastly just begging to have its experience taken from it. And more stone poison on Allie's screen. Just gonna reset, and so Allie's cutting through the forest, this U-shaped forest around Canaria. If she walks along the grass to the left of that, there won't be any encounters there, and she might avoid some of these imp fights. And we're gonna do little save scumming to get back up to Temple of Fiends. I think the nerves have settled down a little bit on Allie's screen. She's remembering all these key lock chests. She's gonna start making some moves. Maybe she'll, after making these checks, double back to northwest. But robot.
Robot with the rod.
I missed what was in those last two boxes as the stream kind of stuttered there for a second.
Yeah, I think I only caught 1 or 2 boxes in there, and I saw money in one of them.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just have to figure it out. I mean, doesn't look like he's rushing to equip anything, so we don't think there's any like amazing weapon or gear coming out of it.
So a couple of good spike tiles early. The chimeras, the eyes, and even these double. There's a loose cube.
Wow.
That's gonna be huge. In the races I've seen Hippie Nova play, he doesn't usually check key locked TOF.
Key locked TOF is so fast to check, and that's the first time I've seen a loose there. So that's a huge pickup for Allie, and you can kind of see her memeing a little bit, letting us know that there's nothing here, not to tell hypes. As we see Bracken Bane at level 7, so as if abandon all hope, you enter here. You're not coming to kill Kraken with those, so he dips out of Onrak.
It's almost like the people in Onrak know what's living in their submersibles dungeon, and they say, "Hey, you might want to pick this up before you head on."
Yeah. I think they would be selling Bane swords there. He's going to hedge his bets and head over to Ordeals.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good play. I mean, you're hitting your incentivized locations. You don't want to start gambling on dungeons and hoping that, one of your 2 loose or maybe both of your loose items are in there.
Yeah. It's also worth pointing out he couldn't even get into Sea Shrine if he wanted to, still looking for that Oxyale.
Between this and ice, if the floater lands here and you have even the remote possibility of skipping ice altogether.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, we do have level 4 warp. So it takes a little bit of the pain out of the ice cave, but alright, Allie, where are you headed? She's gonna do her ruby turn-ins here and get her canoe and get her loot. Cure 4 available for Red Wizard. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love that.
Allie will be at least be able to make use of it immediately on that white mage that she's got with her. Fast level 5 as well.
That's really good, and it's really good to see it in that slot because our red mage can pick that up now. That will help just in case this is a floaterless seed. So Hype's getting bounced around here in the pillars. Gonna run from the zombies. I like to fight zombies because they're usually pretty squishy. Usually have a couple spells to take. So I think Hypes is just focusing too much on going fast and kind of avoiding some XP here in Ordeals where I don't know. I think it might work out because he knows that it doesn't really matter if he takes fights. He's got that 3-eye grind in his back pocket. So
yeah, I was about to say the same thing. If you found that the 3-eye tile as a second tile you check in the game,
look at these trap tiles.
You can catch up your.
Yeah, these spike tiles are something else. Double fighter, double Gershark, triple eye, squishy chimeras. Just begging our runners to be level 30 by the time they enter Topher.
No, absolutely. And anytime you see a spike tile that's got monsters on it from, Mirage Tower, Sky Castle, Sky Palace, whatever you want to call it, even maybe some like Temple of the Fiends fights, or maybe like the B-side fight, like that triple eye or double eye fight, those are always worth huge amounts of EXPs.
Mm-hmm. And we got Burt Reynolds in chat saying he would have taken that to level 20. So the bottle here. So bottle and slab tells me that ice is probably holding our Oxyale. And we've got a floater in C, unless it's loose kicking around somewhere.
I'm gonna call Bonk and C, and I think we're gonna get floater here in Ordeals. Oh, actually, we already saw it. So Ice Cave, I guess.
Yeah, and then bottle turned to Oxyale, or slab turned to Oxyale. Because we're running out of options. We do still have an opal bracelet out there, and the potential for a loose floater. We also could have loose Oxyale.
True, and if we do have that loose Oxia, I think it's safe to assume the floater is going to be down in the sea cave.
Yeah.
So we've already seen one loose in that top right Temple of Fiends locked room. How abysmal would it be for our runners if the second loose is down in Marsh Cave?
I see you're an optimist, Ale.
Well, I saw Senor Nova running past it, sailing past it, and the thought popped in my mind, and I was like, I wonder.
It did give us key early. Could be down there in the key locked marsh.
True, though, we also technically have that early cube that Allie found, so for all we know, you might find something loose up in Mirage and Sky.
Oh, was it the Edgeworth special, that floater in Sky? Kind of keeping the whole castle up?
I'll be interested to see where they both go from here. I mean, Allie at this point, she's kind of just a few minutes behind Nova with his routing. But with Allie, she still has to do the waterfall. She still has to do ordeals. But she also has already found one of the loose. So it can kind of maybe limit some of the boxes you start taking. Maybe start taking some gambles on, hey, I don't think it's going to be here based on chest density. So I'm curious to see what kind of pathing she takes from here on out.
And curious that Hypes is coming to Volcano before the Ice Cave, when one is an incentive location and the other takes a little while to full clear.
He could be just hopping in here to check the armory and that floor and maybe hoping for a loose item. That'll kind of give him some direction as to which way he should go from here.
Sometimes you'll kind of find that about 30 minutes in is kind of that mark where players start to get the itch. Like, I should be progressing. Something serious should have happened by now. So you start to think, well, maybe I should make my way towards the Fiend. I should have an orblet by 40 minutes. That can kind of push them into an area where maybe the seed isn't telling them they should go just yet.
Yeah. But so far, nothing has really impeded their progress. I mean, I would imagine that both are kind of looking at their key items in their head, and they know that they found a lot. Now, Hypes doesn't have the knowledge, and
There's our second loose.
all right, so 32 minutes in, each runner has found a loose. What could the TNT turn into?
Thor
Hammer. I see you're an optimist. Which, if it's Thor Hammer and then another ribbon, so if it's Thor Hammer, that means we have Oxyale in ice, maybe behind the herb, and then we have a floater in sea, maybe behind the herb.
I like the way you think.
Because we're running out of options here, and we still have opal bracelet, which could be behind the slab, and the bottle would turn into the power bonk. Because floater has to be somewhere.
Yeah, and we know it can't be behind the bottle, the slab.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's almost guaranteed to be mermaids at this point.
Yeah, and we know that the Oxyale can't be behind them either. Because then that would push... Well, wait, could it? Could the bottle turn to Oxyale?
It could if you got the floater out of Ice Cave.
Yeah. And there's our slab from the old men for Allie. Hypes also did this. We just didn't mark it down. Alright. Where are you going to go, Allie? If she goes to Volcano and hits a 36-minute go mode with finding both loose, she's going to feel really, really good.
Oh, absolutely.
Where Hypes is going to be kind of fishtailing because he's going to have access to the whole world eventually, and that the proximity of loose and TOF locked to the beginning of the game being so close that he's never going to come back here until it's too late. So,
yeah, I think this actually might help out Hypes in this scenario, though, with him not having found that cube in the TOF lock chest.
Yeah.
Just because he's still looking for gear for that second fighter. Like, I think the best weapons we've seen him pick up so far are the Ice Sword and the Light Axe. And had he been in go mode at this point, I don't know a lot of people, even with an early eye grind tile, who want to go through Temple of Fiends with an Ice Sword and a Light Axe.
Yeah, that's fair. But there's enough free chests along the way that you think you would find something. Like, we're going to be promoted.
This is really a double-edged sword, though, because I think Hypes is one of the guys that's been around long enough that he's well-versed in the memes of Sky, Sky, Sky. So had he found Cube first, like Allie did, I think he probably would have made his way to Sky, and we know that that's probably going to be a bust at this point.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Hypes isn't the kind of guy that's going to go to TOF locked. So yes, he didn't get the cube and get steered wrong, but how long is it going to be till he goes and checks TOF locked?
Well, I think when he watches this back, win or lose, however this race shapes up, he's going to fold TOF locked into his routine. Like, there's no reason to not check it. It takes 30 seconds, especially if you get the key early. And there's a katana, so an in-game weapon acquired, but not for this party.
Yeah, and he usually makes great vendor fodder, but not when you're swimming in cash from an eye grind tile.
Yeah. So Allie elected to do a little wyvern grind here. Interesting choice. I don't think she realizes that the eyes have much better experience. She's getting 1,001 per kill here.
I think even earlier when she found it, I think she was getting 2,900 per kill with a number of less loose items.
And that was with just 2 eyes. So for people out there watching, need a comparison for how good those eyes are. I think look no more than this wyvern grind here.
I think you're going to start to notice too that as players get a little bit more comfortable in the randomizer, you start to realize just how unnecessary that 4th hero is and how much more levels you can get with just 3. And some of our players are so good they can rock 2 players. Yeah. But I think 3 is kind of like the magic number. 3 heroes with the XP levels that we have, if you have enough key items, it starts to really, really build up to where you don't have to do a grind. You can just play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Falcon. And that's something I'm a little surprised Hypes didn't maybe chime in early on. Kind of like what we alluded to early on in the broadcast, running that double fighter strat, aside from just having one just be in the front to take a hit, it's really dependent on finding like that really good fighter gear early. And by not finding that, I think the proper play, like you said, is dropping maybe one of those fighters down, running 3-man fighter, red mage, black mage.
Well, he found decent fighter gear. He's got good armor spread out across the 2 of them. It's just...
Wow.
Carrying the recycling bin shows up on Hype's screen as Hypes is trying to separate the paper from the plastic here. And is Carrie made out of paper, or is she more plastic or metal here? Not looking too tough. A little punchy. She's a little got the sleep touch, but Quad X recycles Carrie, and we'll see her later. The Temple of Fiends revisited. So Hypes lights his first orb at around the 38-minute mark.
Hypes may have 2 orbs, but I'm sorry, 1 orb. But don't look now. Allie has found both loose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Allie and with 2 ribbons. So
Yeah, she's in a good spot. I think the only thing going against Allie at the moment is just her experience with the randomizer. I believe she only joined our community right when the tournament sign-up started just a few weeks back. So I think that's the only thing that's going to be holding her back right now is just that experience level.
yeah, and she'll get that very quickly over the next 5 to 6 weeks as she watches this VOD back. Win or lose, like she's made a lot of great decisions here. She's running strong, and she's only gonna improve each week. And that's
absolutely.
Can be said for all of our newer players in the tournament. I know when I came in last year, watching VODs back and listening to people talk about what I was doing and how I can improve, like, helped me out a lot. Like, I didn't really win anything else in the tournament, but it helped.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the biggest thing too, is just when you're running these races, when I run a race, personally speaking, I go into it afterwards, I watch the VOD, I'm like, okay, what can I take back from this particular race? Like, what could I have done differently or better, either from like a routing decision or a gear decision or, any number of things. And I think that's really a vital part of improving with your game knowledge and with everything else that you're doing.
And it's as if she heard you in her mind, Falconic. She's keeping that white mage down and running 3. So
I like it.
I just wish she would take that red mage and swap it with the white mage just to kind of keep that red mage a little healthier.
Yeah, but that's something that, a newer runner may not know. So for those who are watching, maybe new to the randomizer, the light warrior in the first slot has a 50% chance of being targeted during a round of combat. The character in the second slot has a 25% chance, and then the third and fourth slots each share a 12.5% chance. So by shuffling that red mage down, that's really going to force a lot of the damage on that first slot just by percentages.
And she is going to learn these spike tiles pretty quickly. So steps on a spike tile and gets kind of punished for it. Now down to 2 with the fighter and the black mage. This could get a little hairy. I don't know if she has quite the tools here to take down Carrie now.
Yeah, and the other thing to do as well, like when you do start, maybe losing party members during a dive, it's worthwhile going back, looking at your gear and kind of shuffling things around. Because I'm not sure where she has those ribbons at the moment. I have a feeling they might be both on those on that red mage and that white mage. And if that's the case, those ribbons aren't doing us a whole lot.
I think one is on the fighter, and I think one is on the red mage. She didn't readjust her gear after we're skipping chess.
Let's go.
Right.
Let's do it.
Let's go fast. Gotta go fast. So, let's see. We got the floater
there we go.
in Ice Cave. So, Hype's going to be in the air. So, our early... There's another good grind tile with the mages and the fighters. We're not going to take it, though. Sentry grind tile. Lightning 3s, if it rolled low, that's good XP, too.
I mean, this seed is...
Skip the Frosty chest.
Back and watch a video for what grind tiles do I take. This is the one to watch.
Yeah. Not that one. Every other one we saw was great. Not that one. So, Hypes skipped the Frosty chest. We know that it's not the loose, but still a bold strategy to skip tile or skip boxes when we're not in go mode. I hope he just kind of marked down in his head where he orphaned those chests.
See, this is where it gets a little bit dangerous because fast forward 30 minutes from now when Hype still hasn't found the cube and he's starting to double back and think, where did I miss? Where did I skip? He's more likely to come back to areas like this where he did skip like the west chests than he is to remember something is kind of off as TOF locked.
Yeah. Is rewarded with the Bane Sword. So Allie's going to take on Carrie.
We didn't see a lot from Carrie the first time around. I think the worst I've happened to see was that she has sleep touch,
Yep,
which is just going to, delay her actions.
We fast that Ice Sword. 3 hits, 105. So Carrie 1, pretty heavy with evade and absorb here. Not punching too hard. We're going to fire out the Ice 3 and do 42 damage. So Carrie resists the ice elemental. We might want to try some cheeky zaps. Maybe a quad X once we get another sword swing in.
Ooh, wow.
We might have just been able to quad X Carrie out the gate. So
Yeah, I think she maybe had barely over 300 HP.
So Alliesong
letting us know she's done with Carrie.
There's nothing here.
Remains.
So Allie matches Hypes' fire orb, and she's gonna head up to ice now. Or where are we going? Where are we going?
I see her taking a detour down the crescent, maybe rezzing, possibly the red mage.
That's fair.
I don't think she'll bring the white mage.
This is tough, right? I mean, Hypes is either 30 minutes ahead or an hour behind, depending on where he goes to check.
Yeah, it's. I think best case scenario for him is that when he goes to turn in that TNT that he found, that he scoots over and does check Temple of Fiends locked and says, "Hey, I forgot 3 chests in here. Let me go check them real fast."
Mm-hmm.
I think that's best case scenario right now, and that's what we're just gonna hope for.
Yeah.
You're hoping for it. I think I think that I'm rooting for Allie because Allie's a newcomer, and I just love the underdog.
Yeah, I mean, underdogs are great, and I think this is, it's a learning experience. I'm pretty sure we can all, recount stories of how we played a seed and we got bit by that loose item in Topher, and that kind of shapes your routing, once you find the key. And I think this may, depending on his routing, I think this may turn into one of those seeds for Hypes.
Wonderful spot for Temper to land. That will be available for promotion for the Red Wizard in that top slot. So
I don't know that I've seen enough to make me want to keep the Black Wizard alive.
Hypes dips out, and where are we going, Hypes?
I think we're gonna see a bottle and maybe a slab check. Maybe? Question mark?
There, you gotta go back, Hypes. You gotta go there. So. Oh, I thought you heard me for a second.
We were just taking the scenic route to Melmond. That's all it was.
I'm gonna translate our slab.
I think that's one of those things where it's let me fly south and go see, Guy and LaFane, then realize, oh, I never talked to Dr. Oon. Let me go do that real fast.
So Hypes is a guy. I wonder if he's going to come look at that well. Oh, he's not going to do it. I know Hypes loves his wells, but leaving the wells behind.
So to go back to something Falconic said, I think the only thing that's saving the Black Mage right now is Fast being level 5 and Temper being level 6, because we haven't seen that power gauntlet yet. I think that's the only thing that's worth keeping them up at the moment.
Hype's going to clear out Cardia. A little bit of money. Even a little more money. A soft potion.
Enough to walk out, you think?
No.
Or you just reset?
No, but he didn't save before he went in, so... Something else you guys...
You hate to see it happen.
Yeah, something else people can take away. He can kind of just save over like the cluster of all the islands and then check them and just keep resetting back to that central point if there's nothing in there worth taking out. And I gotta figure out why I keep doing hand gestures when I do commentary.
Caleb, if you don't know by now, you're MC, clap your hands.
Oh, okay.
To steal Caleb's line, since he's busy gesturing for us, Hype's taking his papers, going to see HR, demanding his promotion.
Yeah.
Allie's showing us the very rare plateau just above Ice Cave there.
I tried to do this in real life once, and HR got real upset with me that I just handed them the tail of a rat. I did not get
I'm here
promoted.
for my promotion.
Excuse me, Karen. One promotion, please.
I'm curious about Hypes' gear choices here. So after promoting, he's still got the silver armor on that top knight, and he chucked out the ice armor.
It was
Might
too
have been
cold.
a tactical oversight.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
well, he knew the dragon
maybe he was
right
just
there.
precognizant. And there you go. He could feel that dragon armor and was like, I don't need this ice armor.
And
We're good.
you could equip that silver armor onto your red wizard. So now he's gonna go here and get like a gold bracelet out of this room.
Exactly.
The sentient Hypes Nova. Let's see what he's rewarded with. Opal Gauntlet. It's good absorb, but we got pro rings for the time being. Yeah, we can throw that
Maybe replace that iron gauntlet there on his second night with something.
yeah. A little bit of money, heal pot, silver gauntlet, mage stick. Go back for that mage stick. Always like free magic.
Oh yeah, especially if you throw that on a knight, get a free AoE spell.
Yeah. Alright, Hypes, where are you going? You got a bottle and a slab.
I think it's gonna be slab turn in soon.
Yeah. He's gonna get the bad news that he doesn't have a cube. Gotta double check the armor shop. Max price gold. But hey, we got money for days, so let's make it work.
The trap tiles just continue to pay out.
Oh, I missed it. What happened?
Peds on the
Oh,
trap
okay.
tile.
That's pretty nice.
Cremate peds though. I don't know if I'm going to stick around for that.
I mean, we had Ruse Gray Sharks, but we're kind of okay with that.
So Allie, checking the spike tile when she could walk around and do the warp trick, as we like to call it. So there's the herb from the bottle. So the tiny fairy just handing over some weird kelp that was just growing along the bottom of her leg, and we're supposed to do something with that. It's kind of gross, but hey.
Hey, Caleb, I'm a new runner. What's the warp trick?
So the warp trick, so in the vanilla game, you don't have access to the warp spell before you come to the ice cave. The warp spell is locked to a promoted black mage or a red mage, and gates progression, right? So if you had it here in the vanilla game, you wouldn't need to go through the whole ice cave, because what it does is you drop down in this hole and you cast warp, and it puts you back up a floor, just like the spell's intended to do. Except the spell's not intended to work with this dungeon, because this dungeon's supposed to happen before warp. You could also use that in the Temple of Ordeals if you get mixed up in the pillars, which is not designed as intended, but we like to call it a feature, not a bug. So Hype's gonna come down to the Lefinians and see what's happening.
Chat pointing out that Hypes is a recent graduate of the Ailmark Airship Landing School, where you land on everything but the tile you want to.
Yeah.
Crash into forests, crash into mountains, crash into towns, and they have the Thor hammer, and he says no thank you.
There's a nice fight. Take that sandworm, as our very own Will Bloodworth calls it, the Bernie sandworms.
Walked all the way to Asgard just to get the Thor hammer.
Leave it behind. You don't want to take their priceless relics from them. So
we got the herb from the fairy. I feel like that's where he's going now. We'll see what that
Yep.
turns into.
Yep.
Money on Power Bonk, money on Opal. Any takers?
it's Oxiel. It's got to be. Unless the TNT is the Oxiel.
Woohoo! Power Bonk.
So time to look at our item screen. Okay, we're doing key locked.
All right, could be on the scent.
This is he's tracking pro ring. A silver knife. Okay, so Hypes, look at your items. See that you have a TNT to turn in.
More importantly, see the fact that you're in the inner sea with a key and you have key lock just to check.
Come on, Hypes. The nerves, getting to him. Lightning 3 on these frost wolves. Allie's still in the ice cave. TNT to the Oxiale. Alright, Hypes. He's gonna beeline it and hope that the cube is here in Sea Shrine, and gonna get the womp womp with the opal bracelet.
I'm telling you, something about TOF locked is just so far out of people's minds that they're more likely to do like marsh lock before they'll remember that TOF has 3 chests.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a chest density thing, and I think it's before I jump into Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Something had Death Touch. It was either Gators or Hydras. Something had Death Touch on that river system. Just knocked Voop all the way down to dead. So, at least we got that out the pool. But yeah, sorry to cut you guys off about the TOF locked.
No, you're good. Death Touch supersedes everything, so...
To me, the TOF lock, it's not just checking the 3 chests, it's also checking the spike tile. And granted, we did find a bunch of awesome spike tiles, so I'm trying to think of what could be a better spike tile. And I think that the only spike tile that could have juicier XP, and Hypes Nova washing his face in the fountain. Gotta love it.
So we've abandoned well strats, and now we're going fountain strats. I like it.
Yeah. Maybe he's going to do all the fountains.
He
no
didn't
cope
do
check,
cope, and
though.
that's all that matters.
Yeah. Team coping mechanism represent. So I think the only other grind tile that we could find in TOF lock that would be more XP would be that double Naga 6 waters.
In the waters, yeah.
That's
but
a
it's
good
weird,
one.
right? Because
Or like 3 Frosties, or 3 Red Ds, or 4 Red Ds.
you think of Northwest Castle, and I think in most people's minds, they think of Northwest Castle as a grind tile check. It's not really that there's 3 chests. But for some reason, you just kind of skip over. I think with Temple of Fiends, in your mind, you think you've checked the 3 chests on the left, you've killed Garland. It's almost like you put it out of sight, out of mind. You forget that there's something there. And it is, like you said, it's almost more of a grind tile check than it is chests. But I think we're going to find here that Hypes, maybe he doesn't. Hopefully he doesn't. I'd hate to see that he loses a race because of it. But I think you're going to see that it's just one of those places where your brain mentally checks off, like, no, I've done that. I don't have to go back there.
Yeah. And looks like Allie's struggling a little bit here. Something took out the rest of her party here. Gets rewarded with an ice armor. And doing this the long way with the arachnid spiders. And there's your opal bracelet and Zeus gauntlet and a white
White shirt.
It's not a bad bunch of chests there. It's just not what he wants to see at the moment.
No, and now he knows the cube is loose. So Hypes has got to be thinking, dear God, I hope it's not in those chests that I orphaned in Ice Cave or Volcano or but start listing stuff. You know, it's like,
right,
where are the boxes I got left? First 2 floors of Mirage. Floor 1, quick check, but floor 2, you hate to go there without the cube. All of Earth doesn't feel good. All of Marsh doesn't feel good. And so, but like Falconic was saying, all of those will supersede TOF lock unless he flips the list of boxes on its head and just goes, let me just go to the places I know where there's a few small quick checks, and does that. So finds opal armor. So we're getting that fighter gear that we wanted.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to keep in mind when running this game is it's all a game of numbers and gambles. And I feel like a lot of people, speaking even for myself, I think we're all conditioned to prioritize like chest density places or maybe the quick checks when you're in the area. And I think that's one of those things that you have to learn to balance as a runner with this game is like, hey, it's going to take me 45 seconds to go check these 3 chests. You know, if it doesn't pay off, I'm out 45 seconds. But if it does pay out, how much time am I really saving by making this check while I'm here?
And Allie escapes Ice Cave with just her fighter. So something in there. I apologize, Allie. I missed it. That was giving you trouble. So something in there knocked her down to a solo fighter.
Allie's in that position that I think everyone is when they start, where you're probably finishing seeds in like 3 hours and then maybe 2.5 hours. little things, little tiny tweaks to Allie's gameplay, like remembering you have warp and knowing when to use an ice cave, suddenly shaves 20 minutes off your run. And then you have 15 minutes here and you have 10 minutes there. Suddenly, in week 1, you're doing 2.5, and by week 6, you're seeing Allie clear in 1:30.
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
That's what I was saying on the previous broadcast I was doing with Cyclone, watching some newer runners race, and then even before then, like you're just seeing folks, and I'm most excited to see how these runners make adjustments and come back in week 2, and I want to see these new players start punching these vets in the mouth and just catching them like sleeping.
Yeah, I mean, we're only in the first week, but I think we've seen probably 24-ish races so far. I think a lot of those that have featured the newer runners, I think we've all been collectively surprised by how well they've all.
Yeah. There's some strong runners out there. I know Falconic, we were both in the chat room watching the Duckling Supreme Groggy Dog take on the real Super Pleb, and that's another guy to watch out for. He's been he showed up right as soon as the spring tournament announcements came out, and the Super Pleb has just been consuming seeds just all day. Like I've watched his streams from time to time, and he'd just be booting up seed after seed, just rolling a random D5 in the FFR bot casino to pick an incentive week for him, and just going to town and watching those race times come down for him. And,
he's my dark horse pick. I think Pleb, you might see him go 0-2, but I bet you he turns it around, and he's going to be somebody that's like 3-3, 4-2 possibly. He just looks like somebody who is picking it up so quickly that it's only a matter of time before that switch clicks in his head.
Yeah.
And he's able to cut another 20 minutes off in no time.
I mean, he could be our Cinderella story this year. Last year we had, St. Von Jester qualify, make it into brackets, made his way through the last chance qualifier, won that, played in the play-in race, won that, and made it pretty deep in brackets. So, we could have our early Cinderella identified for this current spring.
And it looks like, again, this is kind of what you're talking about, Falconic, with the early time saves for Alliesong, like the routing here, learning the river system, learning how to get to where you need to go, and that map knowledge. It'll come quick too. It also comes from watching other people race and just seeing what they're doing and seeing how I know that helped me a lot, watching folks route and path through dungeons has helped my routing a lot. I know when I came back to the game, like I had the knowledge of the vanilla game, but watching folks run through Sea Shrine, like it gets confusing. There are branching pathways that go every which way, but when you come in and you watch other races, you see how folks like Gregley Puff, and we got Tyrannix, and we got Dangu, and we got all kinds of like these veterans in the tournament, or just watching and racing along with us, like watching how they do it and then applying what they're doing to your own strategy. Again, huge time saves will come from that. And just like Hypez Nova, Alliesong, a recent graduate from Ale Markin's School of Aerial Marksmanship, and just decides to see if the airship comes equipped with pontoons and bounces off the river system outside of Crescent Lake.
And speaking of routing, if you haven't had a chance, now's a great time to join the FFR Discord, because not only do we have a number of resources available to our new players, in the way of, hey, here's a duckling seed, maybe even acing seed. We have an entire channel dedicated to resources and links. And I know in that we have a number of, level maps for dungeons printed out showing, hey, here's an optimal step count for you to hit. We have an overworld map that, has it kind of broken down in a grid format, so you can know how to wrap the world north to south or east to west. So a lot of those resources are in the community. It's just up to our runners to go in there, take advantage of them, and learn from what they can.
Absolutely. Let's see what Kraken's got. We're going to swing, we're going to fast, we're going to fade, and we're going to bane. So Kraken opens up with a counterintuitive blaze. It's weird how that works underwater. Fast comes out on Emma. We're going to fire the fade. 318, big roll for the fade. Near max damage, 78 from that Ice Sword swing. Bane Sword ineffective. We're going to keep swinging. We're going to throw out the cheeky Quad X. We're going to throw out another Fade. Hope for another unresisted damage roll here. 80. No, not this time. Quad X comes in. And 2 for 2. Hypez Nova gets the Quad X on a Fiend. Love it. Quad X, one of my favorite spells in the whole game.
Quad X is another one of those spells that within just a few weeks, you start to get a little bit more comfortable with when to throw that out. And it is such a huge weapon to have in your arsenal in this randomizer.
Yeah, having that instant kill on anything that doesn't resist death, once you hit that 300 HP threshold is huge, especially if maybe an enemy has a really nasty skill or spell coming up and you can just cut them off right before they use it on.
Mm-hmm. So, Quad X, what does that spell do, Falconic?
So yeah, basically anything that is under, I believe it's 300 hit points or less, it's instant kill. Doesn't matter who they are, what they are. If it's 300 HP or less, they're going down.
Yep. As long as they don't resist the death element like Lich or Chaos, it won't work on them. But any of the fiends that look like they're alive, it will power word kill them.
Defense pickup, that's nice.
That's a nice find. There's a win condition for Hypes. And
But
speaking
again,
of newer runners, we have a Uriel Man 7X7 hanging out in chat. Got to call his race earlier today. He's another one that's gonna be a dark horse in this tournament. Running against these veteran runners. Got to watch him race Danny 383 today. And quite a wonderful match. So I'm not gonna.
So that's co-op champion Danny 383.
Sorry, I'll put some respect on her name.
Uh-huh.
The better half of the Crescent Lake Party Planners, Danny 383, unlike her zappy counterpart, Spell Zap. I mean, that guy's alright. I hear he's pretty good at this game.
He's pretty good. He's not bad.
He's pretty good. Yeah, I think a certain someone in this booth beat him last year. Isn't that right?
Yeah. Don't know who that was.
How'd that happen?
The opposite of how I played Tarnin last night. But here we are 30 minutes later, and we're still in the same position where Hypes is either 30 minutes ahead or an hour behind.
Mm-hmm. And Allie's just kind of figuring out what she needs. So she needs to go turn in the...
I don't believe she's done ordeals or waterfall yet.
Yeah, she needs to do ordeals and waterfall.
But for those that are just tuning in, Allie is the only runner on stream so far that has found both loose. The key being that she was able to swing up to TOF, key locked, and find the cube, and Hypes has gone pretty much everywhere except.
Yep. And here comes the slab translation. So now we're going to get the slab turn in. We're going to get that Thor hammer. And she's got to remember that she's got to go to dwarves to get that item from the TNT, which we know is the Oxyale. We know that won't lead to the progression she's looking for. But we need the rod, and we know that is in Waterfall, I believe.
That is correct. Mm-hmm. Speaking of the rod, Hype's choosing to go to Earth Cave. He cleared Mirage 1 and Mirage 2, didn't find that loose cube, and Earth Cave is up next.
So the one saving grace to Hype's missing out on that cube and TOF lock is by full clearing everything, looking for it. He is going to be in a better position to find the Masa, to find the extra ribbons, to find all of the other gear that Allie might miss out because she's in go mode. She's still opening free boxes here and there, but probability is on Hypes' side that he's going to find this stuff. So it's really a matter of, can Allie figure out what she needs to get going here before Hypes decides to go back to the TOF locked. It's still Allie's race to lose now.
And the gear's a great point too, because we've Hypes, at least aside from obviously the TOF key locked, we've pretty much full cleared everything, minus maybe a couple chests in Ice Cave. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen Excal, we haven't seen Vorpal, we haven't seen Masa. we've seen an entire slew of defensive stuff though. But for those like late game weapons, like even the Sun Sword is missing at this point.
Yeah.
And again, we were talking about little time saves throughout the seed, little things that you can improve on. And that's kind of the best part about being a new player, is that there's so many little things that you can tweak that will shave minutes off your run. And Allie is going to probably watch this back and realize maybe the Thor hammer isn't enough to justify another full walk back to that airship. Maybe that's something in the future that you just reset out of.
Yeah.
Especially with the Giants being where they are, like they've been kind of a hindrance to her really half of this run. So like for everything that Hypes hasn't found a loose, Allie has found skill-wise and spell-wise from enemies. So like she saw a plethora of like the early stone poison from the Imp. She's been seeing a lot of this damage poison ice tea from Giants, and that keeps kind of giving her like those little roadblocks throughout the sea that are just kind of holding her up.
Oh, the unrunnable R and Kylos. They punch real hard. Yeah, that's yeah, smart move there, Allie. Reset out of that fight immediately every time. We're gonna try it again though. We're gonna go with the zap. Could work.
Good. Probably not, but
not many things,
more time saves as well. Caleb, what can you tell us about stepping in and out of river tiles?
Every step in and out of a river tile doesn't progress the encounter table. Question from chat: is Salty Fry vs Shadow Walker soon? Unfortunately, Tyrnix, that race happened 3.5 hours ago. It was at 9 p.m. You can find the VOD on RPG Limit Break. Okay, I guess Allie missed. I missed Allie getting the bottle, so she's gonna come in here and turn it in.
I don't believe she's gotten the bottle yet.
Yeah, I don't know that
because the bottle came from Ordeal.
Oh, gotcha. Yep. So if you want to not miss out on race announcements, you can always hop on the Discord and give yourself the spectator role. We're sending out pings every time a race is about to start. So if there's a particular matchup you're looking for, you can check the schedule, and if that's not good enough for you, we can get you that spectator role. So let me go ahead and link that for the schedule.
This race is such a prime example of just how important it is to be skillful and how important it is to be lucky. And I'm not saying, I don't mean that in a bad way, like Allie got lucky, she found the cube. But what I do mean is that being able to locate something like the second loose could very easily equal 30 to 40 minutes worth of time spent on somebody who is more skilled in the game. Hypes has a lot of practice. He's been with us for over a year now. He knows what he's doing, but because he skipped the chest, Allie almost has upwards of an hour that she could, kind of think and do her thing and still be in this match.
Yeah, and Hypes digs up the Vorpal there, that free chest right before the vampire room. So, the end game sort of acquired. We've got fast, we've got temper, we've got the bonk, we've got all the tools to make that Vorpal very effective. We just need a fighter that's a little bit higher in level to make it super effective. And with that eye grind tile, I'm pretty sure Hypes knows the cutoffs that he would want to get at least one of them up to 34. To get that, I think it's up the 5th swing on that Vorpal.
It's the benefit of two knights too. One can swing the Mazza, one can swing the Vorpal.
Yep, and with them both having really stellar defensive gear already, you don't really have to worry too much about either one of them going down, so you can easily cut through a lot of the fiends in tow.
Mm-hmm. Alright, here comes Allie. So, checking the spike tile. It's the right dungeon for that spike tile, just not the right location.
Speaking of using that warp trick to a little bit of efficiency there, Hype's using it to get back a few steps on that Earth 4 floor.
And we've got chat letting us know that the Silverfire Zyrak race just concluded. We're not going to announce the time on the stream, just for folks that might be watching these VODs on YouTube later. Don't want to spoil any races for them in the future. But thank you for letting us know. And if you came from watching that race, we got a good race going here. We have newcomer to the game, Alliesong, with the advantage of finding both of the loose, while Hypes Nova, the younger veteran, coming in, still digging for that loose item. And Cheesenator in chat letting us know that Allie might be so new to the game that she's still working from maps, and that's totally fine. That's definitely something that a lot of players, these maps can be confusing, especially when you start getting down into the where they're sort of like built like little mazes, like specifically thinking the less than greater than room on Mirage 2. Like, once you learn your way through those columns, it's pretty straightforward, but I still walk real bad. Yeah, we've seen her make a couple map checks where kind of walking, exploring areas that we don't usually see in the randomizer, but that's just new player nerves. And once she watches this back and gets a couple more seeds under her belt, it's not going to be a problem anymore.
So Lich has been promoted to the Internet Explorer icon.
Not even Edge. That's just Internet Explorer.
So we're going to press Control-Alt-Delete and shut this program down. Just a matter of ending this process, and it just won't close. We're going to force quit this as best we can using the Vorpal. And yeah, so when all else fails, you just hold down the power button, and that Vorpal will shut everything down. So Hypes has lit his third orb and is blocked from lighting his fourth, and now he's probably thinking, I have to go to Marsh.
Yep. And this is what we were talking about. It's in his mind, you've got to think that everything has been checked off, and he's starting to go, okay, it's Marsh locked. He's going to go back to ice, maybe check some chests that he skipped there, like the western rooms of the drop down. When does he realize TOF locked?
Well, if you're Alliesong or you're rooting for Allie, it's not for a while, because he's still in a really good position where if he finds that loose cube, he's still in a good position here to finish alongside Allie in a pretty close time. Ooh, there's another in-game weapon. We're gonna pick that one up. But Allie, looking at her, she should see that TNT. She keeps menuing over it. Hopefully she catches it and realizes she needs to go back to dwarfs.
Yeah, so give a quick key item recap for anyone who might be recently having joined us. So the king started off the game by giving us the ruby. Princess gave us the key. Vicky and his pirate comrades handed over the crown. Astos in turn gave us the crystal. Matoya gave us the adamant. And our lovely friend Narek gave us the chime. Traversing a little further west, Sarda had the canoe and the Titan had the loot. The sages had the slab, which we know eventually turned into the Thor hammer. The robot in the waterfall had the rod. Castle Ordeals had the bottle, and the fairy held the herb, and the herb held the power bonk from the lovely elf prince. The things that we haven't seen that Hypes is currently digging for is in the top right room on Temple of Fiends. We have the cube. The TNT was loose in Volcano Armory, which led us to the Oxio. The floater was found in the Ice Cave incentive chest, and opal bracelet hidden down with the mermaids.
I love you, Ale. I popped back into the Discord and saw that you were actually keeping notes on all that stuff. So thank you. I was doing this from memory. So, Hypes Nova, finding out that chest is linked to the top floor, and whatever goodies were in there were also up top, but he cleared that out already. So I wonder if that's a nerves check, and he's just... Yeah, he's
this is nerves, because
you see him
Caleb,
wobbling a little bit.
we've got some maps in the Discord now that shows that that's a link chest.
Yes, it is. So that chest right there is linked to the chest in the second row, second room, in from the right. And with 2 boxes, you check it there because you're already checking the other one. It's also linked to the third row all the way to the right. A box that sometimes people go in and see. They're like, oh, look, there's a treasure box in here, but we don't need to pick that one up. So that box right there on the right is the one that we link back to that top one. He knows it's linked. He just doesn't want to check it in that room.
Speaking of, because of the quarantine, there are going to be a lot more routing maps coming soon.
So there's the Sun Sword. We leave that behind. Skip the crown chest. But we're going to come back to it. Because we're afraid of what might be on this spike tile. And clearing out the less than greater than room, not finding a whole lot for Allie. And you can kind of see that, going back to what we're talking about, her levels right now, 15 to 16, not that much higher than they were when she initially, she got level 9 on that eye fight early on in the game. So, and that was an hour ago. So, Allie, when you watch this back, if you took that fight for a few more, maybe 5 more minutes or so, you'd probably be at this level you are here now. And it's one of those things where it's a problem for me when I race. When I'm given too much to explore or look through, I stop taking fights. I'm running more. I'm not leveling. And I'll end up in a position where I'm an hour and a half in and my levels aren't where they need to be for Topher because I haven't been taking fights. So another advantage to taking an early eye grind when it shows up.
I think the safe option is going back to this. I think I'm starting to come around towards your way. I said earlier I would go to 2021. I think because of the knights that you have here, maybe take that eye fight to about 15, and that kind of guarantees that you can survive everywhere. And then the second that I hit class change, I think I would have been right back to that eye tile to get my spell charges.
Yeah.
And to clear any other dungeon that I had left.
Yeah, that's a great strategy right there.
Falconic, how does gaining spell charges on knights work?
Same way it works for the ninjas. Starting at level 15, you get 1 spell charge, and then you get another every other odd level. So 15, 17, 19, 21.
So basically, if you needed a hard cutoff for when you wanted to promote by to get all 4 spell charges, and there's Allie's second ribbon? Yeah, third ribbon. So Allie, all 3 ribbons. So the advantage that I thought that Hypez was going to get by doing these full clears, Allie's found the ribbon. Alright, Hype's full cleared marsh.
Uh-oh.
He's making the play. Alright, Hypes.
There we
Good
go.
man. Good man, Hypes. Alright. So now Allie's got to step on the gas and stop opening boxes, but she overlooked ice ordeals, or not ice, I'm sorry, waterfall and ordeals, and missing the TNT turn-in, which is one of those things that we see it happen all the time with even veteran runners, where they just have an item sitting in their inventory and just forget to turn it in.
And it happens too.
Yeah.
There's some things in the game like the slab that when you translate it disappears, so it's easy to forget. And then other times you'll pick up something like the TNT and your brain will start thinking, I need to turn in the TNT. I need to turn the TNT. And then a fight will happen. Something will distract you. And then all of a sudden you're thinking, I've turned in the TNT. But you haven't. It's still there.
And if I'm Hypes right now, I feel, even though we've got 3 orbs, we're an hour 22 in, I probably feel incredibly behind at this point. Because it is such an early free check. And you can kind of see that there wasn't like a little meme, like nothing here, or any like frustration swings like that we would if we were replaying Zelda. But he just kind of buckled down, nose to the grindstone, and he's going to try to burn through this. So the advantage that Allie had is all but gone at this point, and now her 2 orb deficit is glaring, and she's going to need to pull it together here.
Yeah, and with the gear that Hype's found while he was full clearing, I don't see him opening anything in Mirage. Well, he's already cleared Mirage, but I don't see him opening anything up on Sky. I see him just go moding Sky and then just running right into Tope.
Yeah, he wants to get a win so he doesn't end up in the 0-1 pool with you, Ale, or you, Falconic. Two of the more dangerous competitors. Oh. I apologize for that. I just said I wasn't going to spoil race outcomes. That's my bad. We'll go ahead and edit this out in post.
No, I'm spearheading the 0-1 group. And as upset as I am that I lost, I'm so extremely happy that Tarnan was able to get revenge, because that just means we get a race 3 next year.
I can't believe I did that.
You're bad at this.
I'm tired. I've been at this for a long time today.
So Caleb, you're in Sky here. You're about 16, 17-ish. You're gonna take a few fights here, or do you just run through knowing that you have the eye tile?
I just run through knowing I have the eye tile in my back pocket. You know, we've got enough levels to take out the fiends. So we don't have Bracker Bane, but we have the Bane sword, and we've got defensive magic and offensive output. We don't have Amasa. So if she finds Amasa, that could still be an advantage.
The trap tiles continue to pay off as we run into metal slimes here. Ale, knowing what we've seen magic-wise, weapon-wise, is this a 4-character seed, or are you danning somebody? Would you have danned somebody by now?
I mean, I think this is back to what we talked about an hour and 25 minutes ago. If I'm running Hypes' party, I probably would have danned off one of the fighters and Ryan, fighter, red mage, black mage. Just because I don't think any of the early game fighter gear was really warranted running 2 fighters at this point, especially because we didn't find, Vorpal we found on the chest right before Vampire and Earth. We found the X-Cal in Top Marsh, which, we may or may not have never found depending on our routing. On the other side, if I'm running Allie's comp, I mean, the only value that White Mage has for me right now is Cure 4 at level 5, but I think we have the Red Mage picking that up now that they've class promoted. So I probably would have gone same party comp, Fighter Red Black.
Something to be said too for Allie kind of watching this back, and anybody watching that is still new to the randomizer. The biggest thing that you can learn, besides just routing and knowing where to go, is kind of when is enough enough? When do you have enough gear? When are your levels good enough to stop checking chests?
Yeah, and that's something that I'm still kind of working on, because you watch the top tier runners, your crab cakes, your spell zaps, your Edgeworths, and you see how they run through seeds and their minimalist approach. And it's, to me, it's more of an art than a science, and I think everybody makes it work their own way, because the 3 of them don't race the same strategies, you know what I mean? Like, they all have their own way of doing it. So
I think that's the best way to put it. It is an art, not a science, because it's tailored to you. What is your perspective on this? When do you feel comfortable? And
all that we got a war mech going here, so we didn't even get any bless RNGs in chat. So Emma's gonna swing before the fast comes out. War mech punching not too hard, 3 hits, 3 damage from that Bane sword, and we're gonna power bonk it. We're gonna switch to fades and lock 2. Gonna melt a little bit of that evade away. Fade for 159, 7 hits, 80 for the Vorpal. Lock 2. Gonna help a little bit with that. We're gonna keep swinging. We're gonna fire another fade, and we're going to fire an ice 3. So 8 hits, 223 with that X-Cal. Vorpal swings 6 hits, 111. I had the swords mixed up. Ice 3, 55 damage. Fade for 160. We're gonna keep the same strategy going. Fade rolls in 152, and down goes Warmech. Have some more levels, Mr. Nova. Allie still running consistent, picking her party, figuring out, looking at her gear, trying to figure out what she can be wearing. Missed the gold bracelets for sale. That would be wonderful to put on all those mages.
Opting not to go with the Bane Sword there. Not exactly as high accuracy as Brack, but still free, still possible.
All right. Ale, I'm going to be leaning on you, buddy. I'm getting kind of gassed. Tiamat comes in with damage poison. Doesn't do too much because Hype's has got not all the ribbons, but that Aegis shield helping protect one of those knights, as Voop got nothing against damage poison, and Tiamat.
Tiamat brought her armor today, that's for sure, because nothing's really getting through to her. Excal 4 for 31. That Vorpal that just did 2 for 186. I think that's the best hit we've seen in this fight so far.
Quad X is coming out, but again, that Bane Sword in the back pocket of the second fighter could end this fight in an instant. Opting not to go with it. Ink going out, ineffective. That's a free turn from Tiamat. Nova swing of the Vorpal for 271. Light 3 coming out. 50 damage. We're chipping away. Here comes the Excal. 4 hits, 148. Still not dead. Tiamat's still standing. The Quad X is going to come out. I think this is going to do it. No, we're still above 300.
Huge beefy Tiamat in addition to all that armor.
Look at the Vorpal doing work though. 239 when the Excal's swinging for less than 50. Oh, 51. I take that back. The Vorpal did 351 while the Excal was barely swinging. So Hippie Zenova 1 is now suddenly 4 orbs lit at the 1 hour 30 minute mark.
Yep, so I feel he'll probably do some maybe picking up some magic, getting ready for his Topher dive, as we have Allie going across the Bridge of Destiny. Haven't seen a Warmech on her side. I think with her levels, I think it's probably a good thing we have Warmech pop up, because she can easily still hop in and get that eye grind going if she needs some more levels here.
Yeah, the problem with Allie here as well, and it's something you have to keep in mind too, when you're going through Sky, there's a chance you're going to run into Warmech, and Warmech is part of the boss pool, and because of that, Warmech could have nuke or nuclear, and if you look at her characters there, 3 of them are just barely hovering around that 300 mark. One single nuke could wipe out 3 characters. So as we look over here, Allie's preparing for that Tiamat fight, trying to light that second orb. Hippie Zenova 1 is going in, trying to gear up for TOFR. We've got Fast coming out onto the fighter. In Viz 2, we're trying to get a little bit of protection out. We saw that Tiamat didn't swing too hard. Allie swing with the, I believe that's the Mazmoon. Did we see a Mazmoon pick up?
If we did, it would have had to have been in either Sky 2 or Sky 3. I know we were kind of cheering on Hypes while Allie was digging out those.
Had to be. All right, well, Hypes is prepping at 132 to go in. We're missing against Tiamat. We're chipping away with Light 3. We're swinging for 1 damage. We're not doing as much damage as that. It is Mazza. I think we're seeing a little bit more damage there out of the Vorpal, so make fun of it all you will. That wet pool noodle was doing much more damage than this Maz is doing.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the scenarios where the power of the Vorpal comes out. Like when maybe you're limited in your spell charges, but you're up against a fiend that has that high armor. Vorpals with that high crit rate's going to get through it, where the Excal and the Masa can't.
Especially when you're playing with flags where Lock and Lock 2 are guaranteed to hit. The more chances you have to hit with the Vorpal, the more chances you have to crit. When you pair that with a high absorb boss, which we seem to have here in Tiamat 1, you're going to have a better time.
Oh yeah, especially high absorbing.
You can't be mad at Mazza though.
No.
So Viz 2 is coming out. Allie is trying her best to whittle down Tiamat, missing with the Black Mage swinging with no weapon. Ice 3 for chip damage. 3 hits, 125 for the Mazza. Tiamat's starting to swing back, but we do have some of the white shirts up, so the evasion's high on the party. We're thinking about some spells. Invis 2, not a bad idea. We're going to chip away. There's damage poison. Takes out the red mage. Lowers the white mage to 1 knee. Invis 2 comes out again. We're getting the evasion up. We're swinging at the Mazmoon. Is it enough to get it done? 182 is not. We're chipping away with Ice 3. Ice 3 deals 44 damage. Tiamat's still standing. But we've got 3 characters with less than 200. Anything coming out from Tiamat here, damage poison, maybe a fire 3, a light 3, anything coming out. The 3 ribbons, though, is going to be crucial to lower that damage. Cure 3 is coming out. We're going to raise that white mage up off the knee. Fast going out, ineffective. You can only fast once. Unless you get slowed, that fighter can't swing extra. And we're running out of spell charges. Look at that. We're down to just zapping Quad X. Is Quad X enough? We've done enough damage to Tiamat. It's ineffective. We're still above 300. Cure 4 to the Knight. We've got the Mazza swinging. Mazza swings 4 hits, 96 damage. Not going to get it done. Hypes is making his way. He's closing in on the Earth floor. This is about where Tristal and Will Cleosis met the Green Medusas of Death last year. I don't know if you guys saw that race or not. It was one to watch for sure.
I've never heard of that race.
No, you should watch it. It's a good one.
Huh.
Allie's running out of spell charges on that Black Mage. 2 more, well, 1 more Quad X in the barrel after this. So got to hope for a high Massa hit here.
Or even a cheeky zap would be fun to see.
Do you waste the zap though? You've only got 1 spell. Is the Quad X enough? 18 damage from the Mazmoon. Please don't tell me that's a good sword. I will not believe you. Quad X coming out to Tiamat, ineffective. The Mazda did not do enough to chip away. We're running out of spell charges here. You'd almost want to throw out. Allie's got the Bane sword. I have to imagine, right?
I think it was on her Red Wizard, who's now asleep. As lit as Hypez is trying to. This program just won't close.
Come back from the dead.
You guys work in IT. You get. Oh, there's a big hit. 4 hits, 154.
Is that a big hit?
It's bigger than the 38 we saw a few seconds ago. This also kind of highlights the. There it is. 4 hits, 382. We just needed to get 2 crits on that Massa. Highlights the importance of the Lock 2 spell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, fast with Lock 2. I mean, it also kind of helps. It rewards your vanilla game knowledge with how many hits you should have. So if you're swinging for 4 to 5 hits, and that's about what you should have, and you're not doing much damage, Lock 2 isn't going to help you. Because that Fiend isn't very evasive, it's just got high absorb. So the only thing that's really going to help you there, like Falconic was saying, is that Vorpal, a high crit chance weapon. But if you're swinging, you know you should be getting 4 to 5 swings and you're only hitting once or twice, that's a perfect opportunity to start firing out those Lock 2s and melting that evade.
We're back to the recycling bin here. So we're sticking with the Windows 10, Windows 7, Windows XP themes.
It does go out twice a week, so in some places.
Speaking of high absorb, 2 hits, 2 damage on the X-Cow, 4 hits, 67 damage on the Vorpal.
Nuclear coming out from carrier as well.
That's what happens when you don't recycle. You have to deal with nuclear energy.
I don't know that a heal 2 is going to make enough of a difference here to waste a spell turn on it for Hypes. Even heal 3, I think the max that heal 3 can heal you is 90.
So, Allie, you gotta go back. You gotta park back there and go to Ordeals. Yeah. Gotta do Ordeals.
Oh, the Black Mage survives with 1 HP if Hypes can get this through. But then again, with Life 2 at level 4, even if somebody goes down, it's not going to be that bad. So, Caleb, you're mentioning, what is Allie missing right now? What's the one thing Allie needs to do?
Well, turn into TNT for one, but also go back to the Onrak continent for the waterfall, for the Ordeals play. Like, she needs to look in her inventory, see that she has the TNT, because that might at least get her in the right mind frame that, oh crap, I gotta go to Sea Shrine. Mm-hmm. But she's gonna do a Rodless Earth, and she should know. So you see that, perfect. She's looking at her. I was hoping she was looking at her menu there and seeing that the TNT was right there. Mm-hmm. So Allie, when you watch this back, you're gonna feel bad probably, but don't. Like, everybody makes this mistake here, and at least once in a competitive race. The waterfall, the ordeals play are both almost always going to be incentivized in FFR races. Yeah, as Zenobian points out in chat, don't feel bad. I'm just as bad. And
don't feel bad at all.
What's funny is, like, I can beat Zenobian. Like, I have no problem beating that guy.
Yeah, I mean, everybody can beat Zeno.
Yeah, and we'll find out tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. when he takes on WAB 1024 and on the Speed Gaming Family of Networks, and that's going to be me and Dark Moon doing FFR in the morning.
Everyone, like you were saying, Allie's going to watch this back. I've had games where I've translated to the slab, it disappeared, and then I quadruple checked mermaids. I mean,
yeah,
it's going to happen, and you're going to learn from it. But as we say that, Hypes is pulling, I think, the most dangerous boss in the entire game.
Kraken can be. No cute sprite for him. We're showing some respect to Kraken.
I mean, any boss that brings a guitar to the fight has my respect, and that's exactly what Kraken's got here. As we power bonk, we've got white shirts going out. Kraken hitting 6 hits for 274, but still not enough to get the red mage down. We're swinging with the Exhale, 416. There's no absorb. There's no defense here. White shirts going out. I think we've got just enough to get this done. Maybe we can survive with all 4. You really want to keep that red wizard alive because that's where the life 2 lives.
You think that's a guitar? I thought that's what the Pro Cape was.
I mean, perhaps that to me it looks like an octopus just rocking out on the guitar. A little bit ballsy there, taking out Kraken 2 and deciding to go ahead and just walk over to Tia 2's floor before we stop to heal.
And Allie's taking this earth grind while she figures out what she wants to do, and it's not. It's giving her a little bit of trouble here, unless she's purposefully whittling down her party to solo fighter to get 1,000,000 levels. And Hypes Nova finds the Encounter 8 Iron Goals. Welcome back. Welcome back to the encounter table, Iron Gold. It's been a while.
Thanks, Meridian.
Yeah, they were MIA for a while, but nice to see all the Encounter 8s back. Like, I think we've all seen Gasties and Waterfall as well now, so.
Mm-hmm.
What's really interesting here is that we just hit 25 here for Hypes, and this was a seed that lent itself to being able to hit 25 within the first 15-20 minutes.
Yeah. And neither of our runners really took advantage of that early 3i grind. Hypes took a couple fights to jump to like level 12, but could have easily spent 20 minutes there and got to like level 40 almost.
Yeah. Even without the XP grind, because we had enough fetch quest chains at the beginning to kind of give us like that 20-25% XP boost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
I think when they saw it earlier, they both had at least 7 key items. So.
Yeah, the seed was friendly with the early fetch quests, and so we're gonna start melting that evade, throwing out a wall, getting Emma, and down goes Voop. That's fine. We're doing a little bit of damage now. Still not doing enough hits, but we lost our Lock 2 caster. X-Cal doing some work. 4 hits, 225. Vorpal finishing the job. 6 hits, 518.
I'm gonna have to
Tia
clip
2,
this race.
a total opposite of her Tia 1 counterpart.
Yeah, so if you needed a side-by-side comparison of the Vorpal and the X-Cal, there you go. And Allie still working this earth tile grind.
Yeah,
so
Allie seems to be I think it's a grind on earth, and I don't know that I've seen that in quite a while.
I mean, earths do give good XP, but as far like we also started this with the wyverns, those eyes are really going to be the way to go. And she'll never forget that eye tile, I think.
I mean, the eyes, sure, but even the chimeras, even if that was your only option, would be a little bit better. But here we go, 143, and Hypes just pulled Clippy.
Looks like you have a question.
I see you're trying to write a resume. Can I help?
I see you're trying to defeat my temple. Please stop.
Xcal not doing it. 4 hits, 8 damage.
Yeah, but we're charging up that power bonk. We got a fast on it. Now we're bonking.
Yeah, the fact that you're seeing 4 hits right away though is pretty encouraging.
Yeah. Fate rolling in 99 damage. We're gonna swing and we're gonna keep bonk. Oh no, we're not. We're gonna adjust it. Hype's Nova's spider senses were tingling, and we're gonna go stand on that gas pedal, and we're gonna do drinks, and we're gonna swing, because something else comes through and we're in trouble.
Curious that we're healing up the Vorpal user here. I think you just swing with both, and you just hold down that A button, and you pray, and
there
you
it
win.
is.
Hey, GG.
So get those GGs and chats for our boy Hype's Nova.
Yeah, Hippie Z Nova Uno played a tremendous race, I think here. Really leaned on the Vorpal. It paid out very well.
And we're gonna get our friend Hypes in here for a interview. And he's already down here, so let's GG, Mr.
Hey.
Hypers Nova.
Hello.
Hello. How you
What's
how you
up?
feeling, buddy?
Sad.
I need to talk to you about what's your problem with Microsoft Office.
It's good. It's
Is it
so
good?
good that it's good.
So I think you got lucky tonight, Hypes. I think you got lucky. So Alliesong is gonna watch this VOD back, and she's gonna realize that she had you. She had you dead to rights in the first 20 minutes of this race. And so not to take anything away from you, man. I mean, you definitely played the seed well. You routed it well. Your double fighter party worked tremendously. You had all the wonderful armor in the world. But she checked TOF locked almost as soon as she got that key
Yeah.
and had that cube, and she followed you into the volcano. She was maybe 3 minutes behind you into the volcano, but had all of her loose, and unfortunately just didn't have enough game knowledge to know that she was in go mode and can kind of start skipping places. And she's currently in Earth digging around. She forgot to go to Waterfall, and she forgot to go to Ordeals. So a couple little rookie mistakes that she definitely won't be making again. So, but anyway, that's enough about her. How you feel, man? How are you feeling after this run? I know you've been kind of partying with me in the frustration boat in practice races. So how did it feel to kind of run a clean seed?
Okay. It could have been cleaner, I guess. Obviously, I should have checked TOF locked a lot earlier because, as they say, it's always there.
Yeah.
It's always there. Something. It's either a ribbon or a loose item.
So curious about the spike tiles throughout the entire game. You find the 3 eyes in Northwest Castle at like the 12-minute mark.
Mm-hmm.
What was stopping you from just parking a tent there and just saying, this is the next 7 minutes of my race. I'm going to get to level 30 and I'm not going to have any problems with anything ever again.
I wanted to get stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't get stuff done when you're getting level.
That's fair.
And if I would have spent the time grinding, that would have been 7 minutes. I would have been behind because we know where the cube was.
Sure.
What do you say to those that would argue that 7 minutes spent grinding equals more than 7 minutes time gained?
You're probably right.
Oh, no, I'm not. I was just saying, what about those people?
Yeah, they're probably right.
But no,
GG,
GG,
no, that was a good run.
Yeah, you earned this win all the same, man. I'm just giving
I
you a
only
little.
first tried Topher. I'm really
Yeah.
just hyped about that.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about that Vorpal sword?
It's good.
Is it good?
Is it
Yeah.
good?
People have been trashing it this whole spring tournament, so I had to show them up.
Nice. Love it.
Yeah, it definitely came in for you on the Tia 1 kill there, because she not only had some decent armor, but she also had a huge chunky HP pool.
Unfortunately, I didn't find Mazza. That would have probably been... Well, Mazza Vorpal is just one heck of a combo, but I probably would have
Yeah.
stuck with a Mazza fighter if I found it.
Yeah. Allie did find it. It was in, we believe, Sky 3.
Mhm.
Yeah, that makes sense. The only
Yeah.
place that I didn't full clear.
Yeah.
Was there any point during the seed where you thought maybe 4 characters wasn't the way to go. Maybe you were going to kill off one of your characters.
I was planning on killing off the Black Mage for a while, but I didn't know where Fast was until I checked. I checked Melmond pretty late and found Fast, so I had hits of it, but I just didn't bother killing him off that late. It wouldn't have been enough experience to matter.
Sally continues the dive here into Earth. She's got 2 orbs lit. And unfortunately, like Caleb pointed out earlier, it's just that TNT just sitting there. And the fact that we have Canoe, but we have not yet made our way to Waterfall, to Ordeals, just kind of halted all progress. And for a while there, Allie, for all intents and purposes, was ahead. Maybe not by progression, but by knowledge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely something for me to look forward to in the next weeks, because that's a huge mistake on my part. I should have checked that a lot earlier. And so, I'll have something to improve on, I guess.
I mean, something you'll see when you watch back the VOD is I think we all had those moments of, here's just a mental mistake, maybe when you're making a run that kind of redefines your routing once you hit certain key items. So, it's one of those things, but it didn't seem like it really cost you a whole lot tonight. And it's something you can, factor in for your race next week if the same situation shows up.
Okay, so she's back indoors. She's going to do the TNT turn, and she's going to get her Oxyale. That will put her back in the Onrak continent. That will hopefully remind her that the Waterfall Cave is a thing, as well as the Temple of Ordeals. And she's just going to stare at him. Like, Narek, you son of a... It was here this whole time.
Yep, so now we'll get to see which way Allie goes. Obviously, the play I think we all anticipate her making is heading up north to the Sea Shrine and the Waterfall. I'll just be curious if she does one before the other. At this point, there's not really a wrong answer necessarily. Sea Shrine, while it does have the opal, she'll at least get, her fiend killed and orblet there. Waterfall's gonna give her the rod so she can go back and finish out clearing Earth Cave. Get Lich killed for her last. And if she does that first, she may not ever have to go back to Ordeals, since that, held the chain that ended up with the bonks.
That's true.
So it looks like C is the first play we'll be making.
As pointed out in chat, I have another race to call in 9 hours, so I'm gonna graciously bow out and let you guys finish calling Allie's race. Send her my best when she gets into the booth if the broadcast continues. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for helping me out and supporting me in this broadcast. Hypes, GG on the run.
Thank you.
Yeah, take it easy, Caleb. Good luck with your morning commentary. Looking forward to it as always.
Thank you, sir. More hand gestures. I'm doing hand gestures again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired.
Alright, so Allie making her way down through Sea Shrine. Looks like she'll be going left to Kraken first. If I caught her routing before this battle. We're just checking the chest still. So, Hypes, was there any point with your early fiend fights where you just kind of had like one of those moments where you just kind of like, I'm not prepared for this?
Probably just Tiamat. I went to Ice Cave, and I was really uncertain about Sea Shrine and Sky. But I went to Ice Cave in a full clear and got the Bane Sword, and I'm like, okay, there's my win condition for those 2 fights. So after that, I didn't really have too much uncertainty. The Bane Sword didn't really get too much use, because I figured at that point I had enough melee to just melee her down. and then I got hit with like 2,000 HP or something like that.
Yeah, she had a huge HP pool, and she also had that huge chunk of defense. So I think it was interesting because I believe you were the first runner on stream to make it to On, and I believe Onrak Black Magic had both Bane and Brack.
Yeah.
So with that being level 7, that did kind of take those insta kills off the table for you. So
when I saw them, they were just taunting me, and then I was like, all right, well, heck you, I've got my Bane sword. Get out of here.
yeah, and I think it was just unfortunate. If I recall correctly, I believe you had your Bane sword on your Red Mage, and I think unfortunately your Red Mage got killed off pretty early in the fight. So that kind of took that off the table for that. So at least you had the Vorpal, cut through your defense, made it through the fight.
Yeah, I think it's because I found the Vorpal and it ended up landing on the Red Mage, and then the one fighter just had the Bane sword equipped, so I just swapped him out.
So Allie's continuing. She's going through, still opening boxes on her way to the back room of the mermaids to pluck off their jewelry, the opal bracelet, which was the incentivized item in here tonight. Also picking up that white shirt, which was I think something that you relied on a bit in Temple of Fiends as well. So I'd say that's a nice win condition there, coupled with that defense sword you had.
So I used the white shirt probably twice. I ended up realizing that just killing them is faster than waiting to kill them. So I did that.
Yeah, that's, when you have the resources for it, just going full offense isn't a bad strat to be, in any sense of the word. Allie referring to what we assume is just checking at her maps, making sure she knows which rooms hold the goods on this floor. Don't want to pop in and have to talk to the mermaids about turning into foam. Just want to go in, get the boxes, and run at this point. Opal Armor is a nice pickup. I don't recall if she has the Dragon Armor on that night, so that might be something worth going back for.
Was her party comp just Fighter Rainbow?
Yeah, so she ran Fighter Rainbow for this particular comp.
Okay. I was having a lot of struggles for some reason with Fighter Rainbow, so I ended up taking some advice from some people. Ended up taking Double Fighter Red Mage Black Mage this morning, and I really liked it.
Yeah, it seemed to do well. I mean, I think the comp you ran with the Double Fighter Red Black really shines, especially if you happen to find any of the early, really high tier fighter gear. Like, early Masa is fantastic, early Sunsword is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, we get to see what's in our friend TFC tonight. Oh, just a cabin.
After I cleared Marsh, this floor is what I was worried about. If there was a cube here, I was gonna probably cry or something.
Yeah, I think after you were clearing Marsh, I think we were having a discussion, so you were kind of running out of options there. So from our recount of it, I think you had 1 or 2 boxes on this particular floor, the Alliesong now, that you could have gone back to. I think you had a couple boxes down in Ice Cave you could have gone back to, and you had a couple boxes in Temple of Fiends. And you made the right call going back to Temple of Fiends, obviously, since, we all know where the cube is at this point.
Mm-hmm. I wasn't too... Well, I think my Ice Dive ended up going wrong somehow, and so I didn't check those left side trap tiles, or those 2 boxes. I had a couple chests and volcano I could have checked, like hairpin and all that. I just went for what was closest to me at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the smart. I mean, sorry, let me rephrase this. It's a smart play because you don't want to go sail across the world if you're in Marsh and you've already skipped boxes in Temple of Fiends. So you don't want to go from like Marsh to sea, then sea back to Volcano, because you're really just over routing yourself. So take the short hops and then go from there. If it doesn't pan out, pick the next dungeon. But yeah, so obviously going from Marsh to Temple of Fiends was the right call. So, Allie's on this fight with the Wizzahags currently. I noticed in your Topher dive, when you fought this particular pack on the water floor, I believe you got zapped through a ribbon. Did you have anything going through your head at that point? Like, man, I wish maybe life had rolled a little bit lower?
I didn't realize I got zapped through a ribbon. I don't know. I thought it was just par for the course, I guess, so... Because I didn't realize that Wizzahags had zap until Topher when I got ambushed by 6 of them.
Yeah, it wasn't something I don't think you saw, because I think you only saw him like maybe 2 or 3 times in your regular Sea Shrine dive, and I think you got pretty lucky with all your turn orders with regards to your spells going off before they did anything.
Yeah, and Double Fighter is really handy for that, because you can have 2 melees go at one target if it has anything terrible, which I guess it did, and it paid off to do that.
So Allie continuing her dive through Sea Shrine, working her way down towards Kraken. We know from Hypes' earlier dive, there's really not a whole lot to speak of down here on the sea floor. And this is something to look back at. So when running back this VOD later, when you do find those 2 loose items fairly early on in the seed, you start having to make those decisions about when do I stop looking for chests based on the gear I have, and also your levels. And that's just something that comes with experience with the game.
Sorry about that, guys. What did I miss?
So Allie made the right call. She found that she had the TNT hiding in her inventory, so she went and turned that in, got the Oxyale. Flew up here to dive Sea Shrine. So she's already cleared mermaids, and she's only 1 floor away from cracking it.
Good to see SVJ in chat telling me I missed everything here. So no waterfall yet, though, huh?
No waterfall quite yet. So I think best case scenario is she goes through, clears out Kraken, and then once she's done here, she hits waterfall. Because as long as she hits waterfall first, that'll put her in go mode, because that'll give her the rod. So that's all she'll need. She can totally skip ordeals, since that quest chain just led us to the bomb.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure though. Oh, especially running into Ghost here. I'm not quite sure that a newer runner such as Allie is gonna feel like the levels are good enough to take on TOFR even after you get your 4 orbs.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be one of the things to look back at too is, throughout the siege, we've seen her taking a number of different trap tile fights, like we saw her taking the Earth Elementals most recently.
Yeah.
And so not realizing that like that eye tile is like the pinnacle of trap tiles that we've seen tonight. That might just trip her up a little.
And hopefully that's just one of those things that it's a one-time thing. Like she'll look back at this and realize, man, I got a seed where you got the 3 eyes almost instantly. You could have had levels the entire seed. So next time she races, even if it's halfway through or even towards the end of a seed, to be able to spot the encounters that give XP, and more importantly, the ones that don't give great XP, kind of like we saw the Wyverns and the Earths earlier. Little things like that will help speed up races.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's kind of one of the kickers too, is just your dungeon routing is really something that kind of can pay out with your inventory, or not with your inventory, with your experience. Like if you're running Earth Cave and Volcano early, by comparison, those mobs in there typically aren't going to have near as much EXP per HP that these mobs here, like in Sea Shrine, do, especially like, the Gersharp Big Eye pack, or really a lot of the packs that we'll see in, Mirage and Sky.
And you're seeing just a little bit of kind of missteps here as far as routing goes. All these things are things that you're going to pick up and get a little bit better at. Next time you're going to know, okay, that was a dead end. I won't go there again. So I think Allie's going to be somebody that in this seed probably finishes close to about the 3-hour range. And if you gave her this seed in like a month from now, it's going to be 2 hours, an hour and a half.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it looks like after taking that, having her knight die there with her white mage out of life charges, it does look like she has forfeited on this particular race.
Yeah. I mean, you can't blame her. It was a good seed, and what's going to be the real kicker is that I think we both agree that she had the leg up on Nova. She made the check that paid out, and for a good 30 minutes there, if she just, when she gets the ability to know when it's time to go versus continuing to check chests, it was within her grasp. And I think the Allie that you're going to see in week 6 probably beats Nova right now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of what we were talking about earlier is, everything's a learning experience. So Allie comes to us from the Z3R community, and I believe she's only, like we mentioned earlier, she's only really been running seeds and maybe even practicing for the spring tourney since it was announced. Mm-hmm. So she doesn't have a lot of like the game knowledge experience under her belt necessarily. But like you're saying, that's something that'll come through time. Yeah. So there's a lot that can be taken away from this first race that she can build on, and she can put out an impressive showing, maybe even as early as next week, depending on, how it rolls and who she gets paired up against.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. We've got in the Discord, we've got a few routing maps that were created years ago, I think 2 or 3 years ago, for kind of the more common floors that trip people up, like Earth 2 and Earth 3, Earth 4. You've got the bottom of Marsh, and because of all this extra time that me and Mo have at home here while we're dealing with this entire coronavirus thing, I'm going to be making even more maps. So for anyone that's in the race, anyone that's in the tournament here, if you're not quite sure, if you're a little bit shaky on it, pretty soon you're going to have exactly where to step, where to walk, and little things like that are going to help out. Knowing what to fight, what not to fight helps out. But I think the major story is, if you can get early levels easily, it's only going to make the game that much easier. Even if you miss out on maybe like your first 15 to level 17 spell charges on a Night Ninja, I think that's fine. If it means that you're going to clear that dungeon without any fear because your MDef is high enough, or because you have enough hit points to survive scorches and blizzards and stuff like that you might see in Ice Cave. So we'll see if we can get Allie in here for a post-race interview. We're working on that right now. Of course, Hypes was able to finish this up, is moving on to 1-0. Allie's going to be 0-1, joining the likes of, me. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it looks like the invite didn't go out, so I'm trying to get it in here manually, so just bear with me for just a second or two. I'm going to get Allie in for a quick post.
Yeah, no worries. So just to kind of advertise a little bit here for Speed Gaming, one of our partners here for the spring tournament, Coming up tomorrow, Saturday, March 21st at 10 a.m. Eastern, we're going to have WAB 1024 versus Zenobian. Zenobian was in here, is in here now. In fact, you heard Caleb talking a little bit of trash. We've got a little bit of Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, some Super Mario All-Stars. 12 p.m., we also have Rojo versus Burt Reynolds. I believe at 3, we've got, I think Caleb, in fact, is one of the runners up against Cheesinator. 6 o'clock, we've got Demon Frog versus Crab Cakes. That's one that I'm definitely not going to miss. So lots and lots of FFR action coming up, but it looks like you were able to get Allie in here.
Yeah, welcome,
Oh,
Allie.
yeah. How's it going?
Good. GG on that run. How you feeling?
Okay. Could have been worse.
Yeah, I mean it's not bad for one of your first seeds that you've run, especially week 1 of a tournament.
Yeah.
First one, restreams.
I got a couple orbs lit, so
You did, Allie. By the way, GG, this is Falconic. What if I told you that you were kind of in the driver's seat for the first hour 15 of this?
I thought I might have been just because I was clearing out so much of the overworld where so many of the key items were, so much of the world map instead of diving somewhere.
Yeah, you were the first to find the loose cube in a very not often checked chest in TOF key locked. Was that part of your strategy? Was that when you got the key, you were going to hit up as many places that unlocked, or was it just happenstance?
Not at all. Basically, I just know I'm not going to be good, so I figure it's not going to hurt me to open more chests than I probably would normally.
I think when you go back and watch this, Caleb, who is here announcing, he had to cut out because he has a very early morning. Caleb left you a bunch of commentator notes, so if you get the chance to watch this back, watch it back, because one of the things that we pointed out, and Hypes made the same mistake, was that you guys found iTile very, very, very early, but neither of you chose to utilize it. Was there any thought in your head to maybe get a few early levels when you had the chance, or was it just a time waste?
I remembered having seen it, and I don't remember why I didn't, but by the point I was ready to come back to it, I completely just forgot where it was, and I was like, oh, well, never mind.
It happens. I've skipped entire key items before because of that.
That and forgetting to turn in the TNT.
Yeah, we were curious if it was just kind of blending into the rest of your menu there.
Just
we were
totally,
trying to
for some reason, thought I had turned it in, and turned out I didn't.
Yeah, and that's something that a lot of people start doing when they start running the games. They'll just kind of make little notes next to them. Maybe just on a scratch pad, hey, found this, hey, found this. Then you can cross it off when you turn it in. That might just be something to carry with you for the next time as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because again, there's no shame in using references. There's no shame in using trackers. There's no shame in using notes. It's whatever gets you to a point where you're comfortable and you can kind of do it by memory.
Absolutely.
Zenobi pointing out, you'll probably never forget the TNT again. We've all got that one item.
Yeah, that's it. My first seed, I think I forgot to check shops because I forgot that was a place that an item was randomized into. Haven't done it since.
So what brought you to FFR? What brought you to the spring tournament this year?
I don't think there's a really specific thing. I like the game. The community seems great. So I mentioned in the Duckling channel, I think that I maybe asked a question or something, and somebody asked if I was going to be playing, and everyone was really supportive and great, so I figured, forget it, I'll do it. Let's go.
So just a pinch of peer pressure, got it.
Yep, worst that happens is some people get some free wins on me, and I learn some stuff. That's a pretty good outcome for everybody.
Well, you ran a great race. Like I said, there were times where at the beginning here we were really saying, Hypes is kind of experienced and he's going up against somebody who's brand new, and oftentimes that can kind of get a little bit one-sided in these matches. And as we were talking about, both of you should probably take those eye tiles or the chimera tiles. It started to become more like, well, hold on, Allie has the lead. Yeah, I mean, sure, Hypes maybe has an extra level or two, but Ali found that loose cube, and we don't think Hypes is going to check it back. So definitely watch back this race. Caleb left a lot of great commentary notes there. And I think we both went on record that I think that there's a lot of things that when you watch this back, you're going to be able to shave a good 20, 30 minutes off your runs within the next week or two.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think there's probably enough stuff that I caught about my own without watching it that I can shave that off almost.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and that's something to carry with you into the future rounds. So.
Absolutely.
So
I'm really excited to see where I am week 6 of the Swiss versus week 1, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, you're 0-1, I'm 0-1. We can have an 0-1 party together as we move on and figure out who we're going to play in week 2. Ale,
maybe each other then.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Well, I'll tell you this much. Here's the reveal for those that even care. My opponents for the next couple weeks are going to choose at least 2 of my party members. So if in fact we do match up, Ali, go ahead and start thinking about the worst party members you can give me.
Oh, okay. I'll have to put some thought into that.
Go ahead and do so. I'm going to pick one myself, and we're going to let the crew pick the other here. So as
Awesome.
bad as you can make it, let's make it. But Ale, closing thoughts. Let's wrap this one up.
I mean, closing thoughts, thank you guys for both putting on a great show tonight. Again, as a regular or a newer runner here, you do have a lot of potential. So don't let an 0-1 start to a tournament hold you back at all. Aside from that, just thanks for Speed Gaming for letting us take over their channel tonight. As always, check out the Discord and all the links that are being plugged into the chat at the moment. Not only do we have our great Discord on Speed Gaming, we also have the FFR one. Check us out at FinalFantasyRandomizer.com. Great community, as Ali mentioned. Pop in. We're all helpful, eager to help people learn.
There you go. Ali, any closing thoughts on your first race?
Nothing for me other than thanks for hanging out and commentating it and stuff.
It was fun to watch, and I'm super excited to see how much more time you can shave off and kind of compare week 6 Ali versus week 1, because I know just how much other people have grown, and you've definitely got the skill. You're checking the places that some of the jaded, more cynical players just choose not to. Like Marsh is just the worst. I'm not going to check Marsh, or I'm not going to check Keylog Topher because there's nothing there, but you don't have that bias to you yet. So I'm curious to see how you grow and develop. It's going to be fun to watch. But for that being said, it was a great race for Ale, for Caleb, who's no longer with us, for Ali, for Nova. My name is Falconic. You are watching Speed Gaming. We're going to be back all weekend long for the first week of the Spring Tournament 2020. We hope you join us, and more importantly, we hope you have a tremendous night and a fantastic weekend, and we will catch you later.